Good evening, Iron Tribe Nashville. Thank you for joining us tonight and giving us a little bit of your time. This is the State of the Union, but it's actually the State of the Tribe. And I know that over 350 of you guys were registered. I want to value your time, so we're going to jump right in. I'd like to start with the state of the fitness industry really as a whole and give a brief history. I think that's going to set the stage nice for where we are and where we're going. So when we really think about our fitness industry, it's a pretty young industry. It really started in the 1960s with Bob Hoffman and the York Barbell Club. And then it was Arnold in the 70s who popularized bodybuilding and the Gold's Gym era. Shortly after that, we saw Nautilus machines showing up and martial arts, and that was popularized in movies. But it wasn't really until 1980s that Dr. Kenneth Cooper coined the term aerobics, and that gave way to horrible leg warmers and millions of mail-order videotapes sold on VHS. In the 1990s, we started to get the heart-mind connection in fitness with yoga and Pilates, and then around the turn of the century, you saw things like kettlebell, strongman movement, those type of things. And really about 20 years ago, that's really when the boutique fitness and micro gym concepts really started to take off. You saw these things like private personal training studios, CrossFit, boot camps that were initially outside and then ended up inside gym locations, sports-specific training. All of these came out of the big box facilities and became their own standalone offerings. And then behind that was an even younger subset of the industry with the private personal training industry, and that really only started around 1990. And that really was delivered with one client, one goal mainly, with a bodybuilding protocol. So some group training had started in the 2000s, but it really was the 2008 recession that drove the economics toward group fitness. If there was a pendulum that was swinging, everyone really was seeing this move from one-on-one body style training to group. And so from about 2010 on, it wasn't cool anymore to do bench press or curls. Everyone was excited about thrusters and pull-ups and all things functional. And the next 5 years really were the golden years of CrossFit. We saw the affiliate explosion, the games, the Reebok partnership. And big boxes were dying, and if they weren't dying, they were having to evolve quickly to remain relevant. But this is really where functional fitness as we know it exploded, and the boutique microgym movements really took off. And that's what Iron Tribe is. That's kind of how we fit in this. That's what we do, that's what we are. We're a boutique fitness concept. So for the next 5 years then, we saw a ton of new high-intensity interval training concepts coming on the scene, a lot of single modality type gyms, and this is really where the industry was going. But over the last 4 years, we've noticed this new trend where people say, hey, I want to be functional, but I also want to look good too. I want to look good, feel confident at the lake and at the pool. And so we're seeing, this enjoyment of maybe some of these targeted movements coming back into fitness routines for those specific results that people want. So the pendulum has started to swing back from the benefits of group training to this more customized approach. And we're seeing that in kind of this semi-private training model. And then 2020 happened, and the pandemic hit the fitness industry very hard. You have big brands like Gold's Gym closing 30 locations nationwide and 24-Hour Fitness closing 130 locations. And I could go on, but all the gurus and experts whom we speak with, estimate a 40 to 45% closure rate in the gym industry coming out of the pandemic. So it really wreaked havoc not only on that, but on how we delivered class and had to really with COVID restrictions and cleaning and social distancing, masking, smaller class sizes, and even virtual options at our gyms in Greater Nashville. So while everybody was stuck at home, you had this other thing booming, which is the newest digital experiences that gamified fitness and created online communities. So all of this happens. And if we can sum up one word for the fitness industry, it's innovation. It's an industry that's been marked by extreme innovation, often at breakneck pace, and it's constantly had to evolve to meet the needs of its customer. So why do I walk us through this, right? Well, it's to answer the question of where do we fit in this larger landscape now? And I think our own Iron Tribe story will help answer some of that if you'll indulge me for a brief backstory. So Forrest Walden, the founder and CEO of the Iron Tribe brand, and I met 20 years ago when we joined the same small group at church. And I became a client of his one-on-one fitness together concept. That was a one-on-one training concept, and he was a franchisee. But I had to go all the way to India to actually hear about Iron Tribe Fitness. Forrest had just started Never Thirst at the time with 2 other friends, a brand new ministry back in 2009, and he invited me to do some pro bono work on a mission trip in March of 2009. And I'll never forget, I walked out of my hotel room one morning about to go down to breakfast, and I looked down the hall, and I saw Forrest at the other end of the hall doing burpees and double unders. I didn't know what he was doing. I walked down and said, "Man, what are you doing?" He said, "Come to my garage when we get home, and I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm doing this brand new thing. It's a functional fitness experiment. I think you'd like it." And I didn't know at the time that I had just gotten an invitation to become an original garagester of Iron Tribe Fitness. But my wife soon joined with me, and this is a shot of us on a Saturday morning doing some squat workshops there. And then that's our now 12-year-old son as a baby. We would take him over there, and he would watch videos while we worked out. And like you, I got hooked by the fun, competitive community. I felt like I was part of something really special, and I knew I was, and the results were just amazing. And it changed everything for me. And so a year later, my wife and I were founding members of the very first brick-and-mortar Iron Tribe location in the Homewood suburb of Birmingham. And it was electric. It was a single barbell-based program of functional movements delivered in classes of less than 20. And we were having a ball. You might even notice in this 101 graduation picture, Iron Tribe president Karen Broadwater in the red t-shirt. We go back that far. But it was an incredible time. And Forrest and I were also in a business owners group together, a mastermind group, and he brought the initial franchise concept for Iron Tribe Fitness to that group to present it. And being a very happy Iron Tribe customer, I was naturally curious. Well, that curiosity really blossomed over the next year, and it turned into a real passion for the business model, so much so that business partners and I became Iron Tribe franchisees and brought Iron Tribe to the Nashville area with our first location in 2013 at Belle Meade on Harding Pike. And we had a very busy next year in 2014. We opened up our Belmont location in January. We acquired our Cool Springs and Brentwood locations from another franchisee. I sold my 10-year-old marketing business and started working as the leader of our franchise company full-time. By 2017, we'd opened up our downtown Franklin gym and giving us 5 locations in the Greater Nashville area. And because of you and because of our team, we have consistently operated some of the most successful Iron Tribe gyms in the chain ever since. And so right about the time that we did that, it was a lot of things were happening, but I've always looked at every portion of where we were in the business through the lenses of an athlete. I started as an athlete, and I'm always viewing things and all of the things that I do in the business as an athlete, and that's my frame of reference. So by the time we'd opened up Franklin, we were still seeing a lot of these new hit concepts popping up all around us as competitors, and we really had to kind of answer some questions because we realized that many people were intimidated when coming to an Iron Tribe for the first time. And some folks would leave and go try these other concepts and then come back just because they missed our community or the type of training that we did. But they would say, well, it was kind of the same thing over and over. But we had to really face the fact because it was hard for people to try Iron Tribe for the first time. And so we had to ask ourselves, what are they doing differently? Is it the barbell that's a limiter? Do the fact that we have a 101 Foundations class course where we ask athletes to invest a month so that they're really safe and know what they're doing in classes for the first time, is that the limiter? So we did focus groups, and we did these in Birmingham and in Atlanta, and then followed that with a brand-wide product survey, and then started testing a new program in our market in Nashville. The Birmingham market did it as well as Greenville, South Carolina, and that would have become the first major product innovation really in the brand since founding in 2010 with our push program. And that's what it was. So in 2017, we essentially launched Iron Tribe 2.0. And if you've been around a while, it's hard to believe that we've been doing push 4.5 years. But it's been a very successful program. It's allowed us to reach athletes and serve people that we might not have otherwise had we just had a barbell program. And it's also been this great place for folks to start and transition into power once they really figure out that it's not that intimidating, because a lot of the movements are simply just progressions. So then we've watched this other trend that I mentioned earlier where there's this the blending of group and 101 is kind of coming back into the middle with this semi-private model. Well, the Iron Tribe corporate gyms in Birmingham started to test this concept in late 2019, and they got some great feedback, but it really wasn't able to ever take off because of all the group options that were there, only offered in non-peak times. And so while the athletes who did it loved it, they were like, well, we need more class, better class times and more class options. So then 2020 happened. And like many of you, it was a very challenging year. I know everybody had a really hard year, but it was. I'll just be very honest, it was a very challenging year for us. We had to pivot and immediately launched into virtual training options to continue to serve and deliver you. We loaned out equipment, let everybody borrow that, and our team worked so hard. They worked from home. You hung in there with us. We all started working out together on Zoom, and my partners and I acted as quickly as we could for every available resource. And thankfully, we've been stable for several months now, and we're starting to grow again. But we're still servicing far fewer athletes than we were before the pandemic. But we're still a small business based in Nashville, and we still need to make really good decisions, smart decisions for the business long term, for you, our clients, and for our team. So why do I ask all these things? We're really asking these questions really kind of in BC and AC. Let me define that. BC is before COVID. AC is after COVID. And we're asking ourselves the question, what's changed, what's gone, and what's new? And more specifically, how can we innovate as we rebuild to better meet the needs of our clients than we did compared to before the pandemic? Similarly, for our team, how can we make the opportunity for our team members inside of our company to have a better career path going forward than before COVID? And where's the industry going? And how can we converge all three of those things? So the brand hired 3 consultants who've worked with thousands of gyms all over the world. And we wanted to be relevant. We wanted to know exactly what the clients wanted and needed. And we were not going to be part of the closure statistics that everybody else was doing. And so the brand engaged these consultants to do a huge deep dive, big steep strategic planning process on mission, vision, and values, really kind of looking at things with fresh eyes, reconfirming our brand purpose, authoring our first brand promise, looking at core values, updating those, and we won't give you all the details on that, but what I do want to talk about are our customer avatars. Like, who are the clients who really love and value what Iron Tribe does, different than all the other concepts that they can choose from? And so we started to ask ourselves, okay, who are these customers, these ideal avatars? So they're folks that have been with us a long time, right? They've bought into our program, they've referred members, and they really, really value what we do. So we did that, and we went deep, like really understand in a deep level, who are you, what do you want, where are we meeting your needs, and where are we not? And we learned a lot of interesting things. Our clients, and this is you, right? You guys really value how Iron Tribe has tried to blend the personal training world with group fitness. Things like an onboarding program with our 101 Foundation course that really teaches you so you know what to do the first day of regular classes. Color division, so it's not just a pass-fail with every workout, but you've got a tribe standard that you can work toward that's scaled to your level. Competitions to make it fun and interesting and motivating. Assessments, in-body data with your coach, nutrition templates, but most of all, you said you love our coaches. And our team is so awesome. They work so hard. They're just one of the most talented groups of people we've ever had the privilege of working with. And our team really is our product. And we strive to recruit the very best so that we can give you the very best 45 minutes for your day. So no surprises there. They're awesome. But we did have an opportunity that there's some things that you want that we're not yet providing that we need to work on. Things like smaller class options, more customization, more skill development, and more nutrition coaching, especially at a higher level. And so we went deep with these avatars. There's 4 different avatars. We named them. We detailed descriptions, filled out demographics, really defined their desires and goals. What are the internal challenges that they've got to overcome? What are the external challenges? And then what does success look like? And what does unsuccessful results look like? And we sent out surveys that produced reams of responses, and I read every one, but this particular question jumped off the page at me. This question of what class do you primarily do? So of this question, 37% responded with 37% prefer power. And then 22% are time-based, meaning I have one time of day that I can work out, and whatever class is there, that's what I do. Also tied at 22%, respondents said push is their preference. And then last place, 19% with either push or power. And it got us thinking, when we went back to launch 2017, there might have been some misconceptions around push, especially not even inside the company, but even outside the company too. Like, people might have thought that push was going to be this easy class because it didn't have a barbell, and power really was for the fire breathers, hardcore athletes, but that's just not true. Push is simply power without a barbell, and push is still very challenging in its own way. And so, but when we looked at the push-only athlete, the push-power athlete who does both, and the power-only athlete, we saw some very interesting trends, especially around attrition. And the interesting thing is that power-only athletes stay active athletes with us 3 times as long as push-only athletes. And Forrest and I have discussed this. We kind of have our theories around this, but we think that our power program just has a lot more to learn, much more progressions built into that. And so there's more variety with things, things lead to each other. And so we feel like that's part of the answer, but it gives us a hint, about what's the real reason that keeps people involved. And so we take that data and then we look at our core values, one of which is we build lasting relationships. And Iron Tribe has always strived to be your third place, right where your people are. Not a place that you just kind of come and go and you don't know anybody and you don't know your coaches. We strive to be a community where you can build long-lasting relationships. So we want our programs to focus on that. And then, really the brand took a look at the whole program model in itself. Like, what really differentiates Iron Tribe from every other concept that's out there? And the bottom line is that it's coaching. Like, we're a coaching gym. And if you look at this stair-step graphic, you've got to move through all of these different phases to achieve the level of fitness that you're after. But when you do, the results can be amazing. And so I've painted the picture of this industry to kind of answer these questions like, where do we fit? Well, we're a boutique model that's based on great results, an awesome athlete experience, and great community. We also must innovate to keep things relevant for you, our clients, and we got to do that in a way that drives home our core values. And we got to strive to make good decisions for our locally owned small business that's good for you, that's good for the business in our future, and also for our team. So kind of all that to say, if push in 2017 was Iron Tribe 2.0, where are we going in a 2021 post-pandemic time now? It's Iron Tribe 3.0. So here's the big reveal. We're adding a new program. This is what the program mix looks like now. We've got a new power program that's rebuilt and is going to be slightly different and give you more options. We're going to make much more emphasis and availability in our schedule for our new semi-private offering called Prime. We will still have push. There's just going to be fewer options than would have been up until this point, just so that we can make more room from what you've told us that you want and that's important to you. So the at-home versions of Push and Power, those workouts will remain in the app. You can play them right there on your phone, stream them to any device, and if you've tested into Perform, those classes will remain on the schedule as well. Let me talk about Rebuilt Power for just a minute. So we're going to build in options to have any strength-based work in a power workout, to also have a cardio component that you can just choose to do. So if you're a push-only athlete that finds yourself in a power class maybe for the first time or starting to do more of that, you'll be able to choose a cardio base like intervals or things on a bike, that type of thing, versus a strength-based lift that might be in that workout. Secondly, we're going to have pre-programmed options for alternate equipment versus the barbell. I mean, if we're all squatting that day, you can squat with a barbell, you can squat with dumbbells, kettlebells, even a med ball. And then scales built in for any high-skill gymnastic movements that you might not be comfortable with, no problem. If you don't want to do kipping pull-ups, you can do ring rows, other things like that. But it's already there. And then even some push-only movements that never saw their way in power, we're going to start to see some of those come back in. And for power athletes, that's certainly not a have to. You can do exactly what's written in the workout that day. But if you're a new athlete wanting to ease into that, there's going to be options. It's going to do 2 things. It's going to help a push athlete who might find themselves in power feel more comfortable and really be less intimidated. But also, it's just going to make room for what you guys have said is more important. So what I really want to talk about is Prime, because that's the new offering. So where do we start? Well, where do we start is, where are your goals? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? And why is that important to you? How committed are you to it? So that's the motivation question. I mean, are you here to prepare for a functional fitness competition? Are you here to run your first 5K? Or do you just want to look the absolute best you can in your swimsuit over the summer? I mean, those are 3 different programs, 3 different goals. So we've got to start there so we know what to do. And then we're going to do your evaluation. We'll have body composition and all the things that you would normally expect, but then we're going to do a fitness and mobility assessment. See, this is the hard part of really working at scale in a large group model. If you've got an issue with your shoulder or your hip, how do I assess that and then triage that to make sure that you're moving properly when all of our classes are large and we have 200 or 300 members at the gym? But if I can assess that and be able to program around that, give you strengthening and mobility on the way while we're still training you to help you rehab that, That's a game changer. That's next level. And so we're going to take those two things and then actually design your program. What are you trying to do? What are your limitations? What are you trying to accomplish? Here's the program. And, this is how your coaches train. Like when they're not in class with you and they're doing accessory work or things, on their own, this is the kind of level that they do. This is how they achieve the results that they do and that you see. So what does it look like? Well, it's custom workout programming that's designed just for you. And it's going to be delivered in classes of 4 athletes or less. You're going to have one coach. It's going to be working everybody's program with them all at the same time. There's time-based, so it's still going to feel like Iron Tribe. You're going to have a timed warm-up, have time modalities, and then a finisher at the end altogether. But you're going to implement it. We're going to hold you accountable, and then everybody working together in that class is still going to help everybody get to their goals together. Every 6 weeks, we're going to evaluate what are the goals, what's working, what's not, what do we need to adjust, and where are we headed next. And you might wonder, do you get nutrition help? Well, absolutely, but it's not just a template from a challenge. This is actual daily, it's a daily part of your journey that's dealing with not only portions, but macros, timing, everything dialed in exactly for what you want to do in the time frame that you want to do it, so that it become a permanent part of your lifestyle. So, to recap, Iron Tribe 3.0, we got a rebuilt power program. We've got our new Prime semi-private training offering. You're going to see more emphasis in the facility on that. And then we will still have Push, just a fewer class offerings, just to make room. So what this also does is able to help us deliver on what you've said that you want, which is a smaller class option. If for whatever reason you want a smaller class, if you're just coming back and you're still a little nervous about being around classes that are large, or you just prefer a smaller class, this is for you. More customization, more skill development, and then higher level, next level nutrition coaching. So nothing changes on our schedule until August 16th. And it will be different at every single gym. The new tentative schedules are already built, and I know that's what you're most concerned about, but I'll give you a website in just a few moments that will show you all of that. But for the next month, nothing changes, and we will get your feedback and take all that into consideration. So, Iron Tribe 3.0, we've talked about the avatar feedback. We've talked about the market opportunity with where the industry is going to do this. But I really want to talk about next how it's an opportunity to strengthen our team. And let me start by just saying what class capacity is going to look like, and I'll connect that to staffing. So the new capacities for our classes will be in Push and Power, 16 athletes will be the cap. Prime, 4 athletes in the cap. We're going to have 1 full-time coach per shift, so that's 1 in the AM, 1 in the PM at every single gym, plus additional coaches in the classes where that's needed, and a full-time manager. If you'll notice, we've already been running this model for the last several months. We've been testing that, making sure that that would work. And the only exception to this staffing model is our downtown Franklin location. That community is so large and near at capacity, we will be hiring additional full-time staff to serve that gym community. And up until this point, we've really been one of the only brands that I know of that has had 2 coaches and been able to, build that with full-time benefits and salaries and vacations and things. But what we've really noticed is that if there's 2 coaches on every single shift, it really does limit the overall opportunity for that coach to build their career and just to do better. And so we know that that has led to coach turnover. You guys have told us that unequivocally that coach turnover leads to athlete turnover. So one of the main reasons, one of the benefits that we're doing this is that our coaches can share in the success of this program. Your coaches will do better. There's more margin for your coaches, and they can put their education and certifications to work for you. And we want to have them build a long-term career with us. We love our team, and we want them to be here a long, long time. Buy houses, start families, put braces on their kids, get what they need while we're helping you achieve what you need. And so we've heard from the avatar feedback. I've covered the market demand, how this strengthens our team. But really this is about delivering a higher level service with higher level results. But you don't need to take my word for it. I'd like you to hear from some of the athletes who've been doing this over the last year. But it's not been just a theory. This is more than a proof of concept. Prime has already been tested and proven. Like I said earlier, Birmingham, the Iron Tribe gyms, there beta tested this in late 2019, 2020, and then launched it in 2021. We in Greater Nashville also beta tested, just like we did with Push. Our research and surveys show and confirm this is what you want. And so Prime already is serving 200 athletes today. and has been for months. Prime is already helping athletes get higher level results. It's helping athletes try something new, work around limitations, helping some athletes come back to the gym maybe after a long time, even helping some people come into the gym for the first time ever. But like I said, don't take my word for it. I want you to hear from some Prime athletes who've been experiencing it themselves, and I'll let them share it in their own words.
Prime has been really a game changer for me. I've lost about 7% body fat and about 10 pounds. The thing that has surprised me the most about it is, even though I'm gaining muscle and strength, I have actually lost inches. So that concept that so many women have, that if you start lifting heavy weight, you're going to bulk up, has been disproven for me.
I personally like Prime for the one-on-one training that you get with your coach, the personalization of the program, and the motivation I get from the coaches.
I've had multiple surgeries in the last few years, so when I do classes, there's so many moves I just can't do. So with Prime, they work it around me. Every single move, and it's also based on what I'm going through that day. If my back is hurting me, they're going to work around it, or they're going to do moves to strengthen it.
I feel like the individual approach has been a good experience for me, being able to have the one-on-one with the diet and the workout to make sure we're going in the right direction.
For me, it's really twofold. I can come in and know that, my 12-week progression or kind of whatever we're working through, that programming is right on for me, kind of down to the day or week that I'm in. The other thing is, coming in, there really is nowhere to hide on Prime. So you can't hang out in the back of a class and take a rep off. And so that's been a benefit to me.
The thing that I like most about Prime as a coach is that I can take a workout, start to finish, from beginning to end, and I can customize that workout and even that program to that specific athlete, working towards their goals and working around their obstacles.
On a day-to-day basis, we make modifications for people who have limitations. However, that's kind of like a short-term fix. But in Prime, I get to implement some long-term fixes that we're going to spend a lot more time and kind of groove it in to their muscle memory, so to speak.
With Prime, it really is truly individualized. You're in a setting of 1 to maybe 4 people, but everybody might be doing a different program. You might see same movements, but we have different rep schemes. So it really allows that customization as a coach to hitting goals. Like, we see people checking boxes a little bit faster with that individualized attention.
If you have any thought of wanting to improve yourself physically, I recommend the Prime.
It's definitely worth the investment. I think you'll be happy with your results at the end.
Make it happen. There's no reason you can't get 45 minutes out of 24 hours for yourself.
For someone who's thinking about Prime, I would say absolutely bite the bullet and do it. It's worth every penny and every early morning and everything else.
Great stuff there from our Prime athletes who've already been experiencing this program. One of the things that I've always tried to focus on that's been important to me is to walk the talk. And living the Iron Tribe Code is another one of our core values. So coming into 2021, I set new goals and started Prime myself in the spring. And I wanted to experience Prime personally before we brought it to you. So I'm also one of those athletes who's been doing it a while. And my Prime program accounts for some old injuries. I have some shoulder issues and some things that I'm strengthening on. I have a ways to go with my program and my goals, but I'm very pleased with the progress thus far. And at age 48, I am leaner and stronger than I was 10 years ago. And Prime is part of the focus and the approach that I'll take with my fitness for the next 25 to 30 years. So I asked the question, what is Prime worth, and what would this actually cost, and what would this, what's this value? If you were to group together all the services in Greater Nashville that we included in our Prime program, this is what you'd really need to assemble. First off, you need a nutrition coach, and if you're going to do that in person, that's about $150 an hour for the market. There's some online options where you can get, those type arrangements online, $150 to $100 to $250 a month, and then $40 per in-body scan. If you hired the one-on-one personal trainer that you would need to kind of get the equivalent, with about 12 sessions a month, that's 3 times a week, you're going to pay anywhere from $60 to $100 a session. And then, probably have some apps and things to track food. So if you want to go buy the equivalent of Prime in the market, it's about $920 to $1,400 a month. That's what that costs in Nashville. But none of you are going to pay that. When you take action now, you'll get our lifetime discount offer. So I'm really excited to reveal these tonight, our 3.0 discount offers. This means that once you lock this in, it won't change. As long as you're an active member, you'll have this rate. And these offers are going to expire August the 16th. And if you're a happy push power athlete, you have no interest in Prime, no problem. Your rates stay right where the same. So you say, hey, I want to try this, Jamie. This sounds great to me. I want to do Prime. What kind of commitment are we going to ask of you to give you this great rate? No long-term commitment. It renews every 4 weeks. It's literally month to month. So the frequency, 3 times a week. The investment, massively discounted from the normal $6.99 price down to $4.99 for our lifetime members. And you might say, hey, that sounds great, but I don't want to give up my group classes, Jamie. Maybe I want to use Prime to supplement. And that's actually what I do. So you can be a power push athlete and then add some Prime. What kind of commitment we're going to ask? The same one. No long-term commitment. Renews every 4 weeks. And the frequency, 3 times group plus 2 times Prime. Again, huge discount off. $729 is what the rest of the market will pay. $449. Let me give you a little context on this. This is really only the difference between what you're paying now and $449. So, that might be $200 or so for several of you. So that's really the context of what we're doing. This is only available until August the 16th, but we want to make this available to you and give you the first time to get in these Prime classes before we go aggressive marketing this externally, which is what we're doing next. So, but you might say, Jamie, I get it, but if you're still on the fence, you might not sure. We're also launching the Best Self Guarantee tonight. If you're not leaner, stronger, more confident after 12 weeks of Prime, then we will refund your entire investment. We are so confident in the product and what we're going to do. All that we ask is that you make 3 following commitments, just 3. 1, follow your coach-directed workouts at least 3 times a week. 2, give it your absolute best effort in every workout. I know you will. And thirdly, and this is the hardest part, be open and honest about your nutrition, about what you've actually consumed, and open to new eating habits. If you do that consistently for 12 weeks, I guarantee you that you will love how you look, how you feel, and how you're performing in the gym. So this is everything that you need to know right here on this website, greaternashtribe.com/Prime. You can pick your gym, see your new tentative schedule, and we will consider your feedback as you give us that. All the different rates and packages that I just talked about are there. You can click on the links and sign up right there. They lead straight to the Club Ready agreement. So I hope you're as excited as we are. We've done a ton of work on this over the last 6 months. Our team is excited, but they're not only excited about the preparation, but excited about the impact and just to see your results. I appreciate you sharing 35 or 40 minutes of your Thursday night. I know your time is valuable, and thank you for trusting us with your fitness journey. 321 Tribe, we will see you in the gym tomorrow.